Good morning, people, and good morning, Jerusalem. Today we're here on the roof, on the balcony at least, of some place here that has a beautiful view on most part of Jerusalem here. And we are going to say things out of the heart. So that's a concept that so many people don't actually know, but there is a treasure of words into one's heart. And when you believe in yourself, not in a over-evaluated way, but really in a clever way, meaning that you know that you're worth something, that your soul is a divine gift, and therefore you know that you have something special inside of you, then nobody can throw you off your place, meaning that you cannot be thrown away, right? Because you know that it doesn't depend on what you do, it depends on who you are. And our society really puts emphasis and a lot of importance over the actions of someone, and even in the Bible and even in all the concepts, the actions are important. Why they are important? Because they define the correlation and the interactions that you have with people. That's basically, usually that's the concept of an action, because you can do some actions that will profit you and yourself, but usually those actions in this world, they are like public domain, and there is kind of private domain and public domain. So according to the Talmud, okay, it says that the word is considered like a deed. Why? Because actually a word is in the public domain. So in this video I would like to introduce you to this concept, which is that actually what is an action? And an action is something which is in the public domain, which is in the world. And since the world is shareable by so many people, it's like a big cloud, it's like a big matrix, call it whatever you want, but the world is like a shareable platform, a global platform that is hosting all the people on the world, which are the hosts of the world, right? So this is a small concept that is important to understand. So since words are very powerful and actually very useful to interact with other people, they're clearly actions and not private domain. So you have private domain and you have public domain. And actually this is, I know it's actually a lot, because you know my English is a bit broken, but with the multiplication of those videos, eventually you'll see some improvement, I hope. So when you have an action, you need to pay attention, and that's a basic definition of the real freedom, and not like a false or overrated or over-evaluated and false freedom. What is the freedom, really the real freedom? Freedom of speech, freedom of opinion, freedom of being, freedom of action in a democracy, or whatever you want to call it. The real freedom is to understand that whatever you do in the world of actions has to be for the interest of other people. Because if it's not in the interest of other people, then it means that it is not good for them. It could be some kind of neutral actions. This in a certain point of view where you only see today and the instant right now, it's okay, but I don't harm anyone. That's true. But eventually, if you take the correlation with the lifespan that you have and everything, there could be some choices which will be detrimental to the world. Now, this has to be developed also, because according to freedom, in the plain sense, or common sense, if you don't do something that really clearly harm people, and you just do something which is arbitrary, meaning that is not like condemnable, or something that you just do for yourself and which is not bad for other people, then you should be allowed to do it, right? But this is in a case where there is no real need. When there is a need and you see other people suffering, you have an obligation to help them. Now, this is a point of view which is respectable and true, but you cannot impose that on people, because it depends on the conscience of everyone, right? And therefore you cannot impose that on other people. And that's the reason why I say that you should find a balance according to your mind, everyone with his own mind and knowledge and whatever he understands and perceives. That's the word. Whatever he understands and perceives. So then you should be able to determine exactly what is your freedom and what is public domain. So because our body is some kind of private and public, so you need to know how the real balance for yourself is. And sometimes we do mistakes. We actually overburden ourselves with some kind of self-proclaimed responsibility, which is not right. And a lot of people do that, and to boost their self-esteem or to give themselves a reason to be. And that's not something right, because actually you should not do things to boost your self-esteem or to be. You should just do things because you ask yourself the question really, and you say, look, I have a few years on this world, on this earth, maybe 70, 80, 90, 100 more years to live here, and life is passing very fast. Everybody acknowledges that. And therefore you should say, look, I'm in this world, and what can I do to help other people? And after there is a question which pops out, okay, to help other people, but what? You want to help them eat burgers more? You want to help them what do you want to do to help them? You know, happiness is a very deep concept, and how can you define it? And since you cannot define it, then it's complete chaos. Not really. You cannot live in this world and say, I want to help other people if you don't even know what's happiness, you know? So therefore, you have to introduce a new concept, which is like personal happiness, and therefore this is personal freedom. And because happiness is freedom, and okay, this you can just like, this is a statement, but you can delve into the statement and just meditate it. But you'll see that ultimately, freedom is happiness, and the contrary of freedom is just unhappiness. Okay, so you want to help the world to be happy, meaning that you want to help the world to be free as a person. Now, to be free in the body is already a great step. So Baruch Hashem, thank God, we got to that point that right now in the world we are more free than we were like 200 years ago. People are free, much more free. But in the mind, they might be less free. But now the question here is not to make like an apology of the world and say how it is now and how it was before, but just to say that there is concept of freedom of the body, and today we have more of it. And the freedom of the mind, we don't necessarily have more of it, because there is people who impose their ways in sometimes in a much insinuous way, in a much thin way, you know, that you cannot perceive, a very discreet way, you know. By the TVs and with the money that they have, they control the people by doing some kind of advertising and way of life and lifestyle and radio, and everybody should be like that, and the trends and the TV and all that stuff, which makes that people actually will want to be like that. But the fact that you want something, it doesn't really mean that ultimately you want it. It means that now you are being tempted because of your eyes, what you heard, because they gave you a reasoning, like a mind thought or mind process that seems very clever, and you say, I agree, because according to your mental skills, you say that is true. But ultimately, you cannot know if it's really true. So that's why you have yourself to tune up yourself, and that's a very nice like brand name, tune up yourself. You have to tune up yourself within yourself, and to really know what is happiness and personal happiness. So I'll say personal happiness, like we said, is freedom, personal freedom. And this personal freedom is, first of all, and that's my point of view, because everything I say is always my point of view. I don't impose anything on other people and say that I have the science, I know stuff. I just tell you what I know according to what I learned, to what I am, to what I thought, to what I really struggle with, to what I really prayed for. I mean, I tell you who I am. So after, if this speaks to you, that's good. If not, that's good also, you know, there is no problem. But what I'm saying right now is that personal freedom is the fact of being happy just to be, and not only to act. Because when you're judged into action on your actions, you will always have some kind of deception. Because an action, by definition, is imperfect. In this world, nothing is perfect. You won't see like people with square faces and round faces. Nothing is perfect. Everything is like a bit crooked, and that's the beauty of the world. That's the beauty of nature. That's the beauty of this world, right? Nothing can be like straight up, and everything is like an architect, and You know, everything has to be a bit crooked, and even in the buildings, what gives some prestige to some is like the fact that they are being old a bit, and even the Peace Tower, for example, is very crooked and it's nice, and stuff like that. So it means that an action cannot be perfect, but the thing is, as a man, you have to put yourself boundaries in order not to be crazy, because if there is no mental boundaries, then you become crazy right away. So you need to put yourself boundaries, and for example, when there is a boundary, you say this should be like that because this is your boundary, but this boundary has a concept of perfection because you want it to be like that. But when you cannot do it like that, because always you will never be able to do it exactly like that, and even sometimes if you do, sometimes you won't, and because of that you will always have the concept of deception, of that, you know, unhappiness that comes with it, and because of that you won't be happy. So the thing is, you have to bypass this thing and just see it like as a horizontal point of view, and now you have to enter the 3D world. And when you enter the 3D world, you say, look, you know what, that's only a point of view, that's only like a 2D vision of life, but there is a 3D vision of life, and that's the 3D part, like even 4D, 5D, whatever you want. This is the fact of being happy of who you are. That's why Rabbi Nachman, the big sage, says you have to dance of joy of just being someone on the earth that has a conscience of God and that you just live here, you know. I mean, you have to dance about it because it's so nice just to be here. Since your body is free, then you can potentially be free. It doesn't mean that now you're free and now we're trying to be free, to free ourselves, you know. At least with those words, I'm freeing myself. And I think and I hope that maybe I could help you also to free yourself. And when you learn how just to be and to be happy about it, then you can construct a course of action that will really permit other people to be more too. And actually that's a very nice sentence, so I'll try to repeat it in other words. When you discover personal freedom, which is the happiness of just being and not of the actions, then therefore you'll have the stability of mind to determine a proper course of action that will help other people to be more too. Yeah. And that's very important, you know. So first of all, this takes away a lot of stress, because stress in Hebrew is like soter samer, like it's like soter in two ways. It's like a symmetrical world, stress, that says soter vesoter. It's like it says contradicts and contradicts, you know. The stress comes from inner contradictions, meaning that when you have some kind of contradiction, because you want something and you just cannot keep up with the thing that you want, then therefore you get up to some kind of stress mindset, because there is something that contradicts you and you cannot manage it, and you don't have power over the contradiction force. So therefore it's crazy, and that's why I'm saying that somebody should be very careful about it, you know, to understand that phenomenon, and ultimately not to be among those people who are just stressed by the fact that they cannot do what they plan to do, or what they think people make them feel that they should do, or stuff like that. So that's why really the fact of being and and to be who you should be, to be happy with who you are right now, is the key to eventually think about the proper course of action that will give you the leverage to be even more happy about who you are. And that's personal happiness. It's not about having new stuff in order to make you happy, because actually that's nourishing emptiness in an extreme level. No, really, it's actually nourishing emptiness in an extreme level. Always have new things in order to be happy, because this gives you, actually, what is the happiness when you have a new thing? It gives you the impression that you have a new freedom, you know, a new tool that you can use, new possibilities that this gives you, and that's something nice. But ultimately, that's nothing, because you can use that as a jump start, as a head start, to really be happy. You can say, what, I have new stuff, I'm happy about the new stuff I have. It reminds me that I'm a free person, and what is a free person? To be happy about who I am myself. And then that's great, because it gives you a head start. It just reminds you that you actually can improve yourself and be happy about yourself, and then that's it. But if it's just only like a culture of nourishing that emptiness, that's really, really pointless, and just like you're just buying time. But eventually the time's up, So you need to find a way to really start to be happy right now, and not tomorrow. And that's the thing. Be happy right now. Trademark. You need to be happy right now, and that's the thing. So I'm saying that. And now I really think that today you should take your life into your hands and say, what, I'll be happy. How I'll be happy? I'll be free. How I'll be personally free? I'll be happy just to be. And when you're happy just to be, you have a personal freedom which will for sure and never interfere in the personal freedom of other people. And on the contrary, you will yourself nourish and help to develop the personal freedom of other people too, which is ultimate freedom, because now you will have a world where everybody is just happy to be. And since you're happy to be, you can take everyone a proper course of action in order to improve yourself and the society, in order for other people to be too, and to be happy about who they are, and not to criticize them and not to put them down, but to valorize them, to give them valor, to give them really, to look at them positively in order to nourish the fact that they should be happy just about being. And then therefore you have a new society that will be born out of that, because really that's the thing. So look, in this video I said a lot of things which are very, very like very like mainstream knowledge, very like general thing. It's not too precise, so I cannot, I don't brag about anything. I didn't bring like proofs or NASA proofs or everything I say, but really it's just common sense, really common sense. When you don't put yourself, you don't confront yourself upon objectives that you ultimately will fail. You can have objectives, but not objectives upon which your happiness will depend. And therefore the stress is out, and all the thing that comes with the stress, and the sicknesses and the mental sicknesses and the false desires and all like the bad mind will be also like will disappear because of that. Yeah, so I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you like it, share it, and I'll be glad to post another one maybe today or tomorrow. And I hope everything will be fine with all of you guys, and just be happy. Don't worry, you are a wonderful person. As a person, be happy about yourself, and then you'll be able to help other people to be happy too. Have a great day. Bizchut Rabina, Nachman Nachmanu.